All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of dPod. All right. And we're continuing our episodes with the couples. All right. And so today we have the shoes.
Ooh, yeah.
Shoes. The shoes. Nicholas and Jeanette. All right. We have Nicholas and Jeanette on. And you guys have not been on for... Nicholas was saying that he hasn't been on since the second episode of dPod.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Which was like back in what year? I don't even remember. It was probably like 2020.
2022.
1.
3? Yeah.
Or
1.
2. Yeah. Anyways.
I came here 2022.
Oh, shoot. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 2022. Yeah. So that's probably what it was. But yeah. Fun fact. Nicholas was the first episode where we used this version of the dPod intro track. Because before we had a different one. But then I didn't know how to use this machine. So then it played the entire track and I didn't even realize it while we were talking.
Yeah.
It played for like 3.5 minutes. So anyways, now we're a little bit more experienced at this. All right. So, hey, we're going to start off with the newlywed game like I've been doing. Although you guys aren't exactly newlywed. You guys are almost 4 years in now. So
Yeah.
approaching almost not newlywed status.
So we need 100%.
So you need to get 100% on this. All right. No pressure. All right. So you're going to just say it together. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think, but it's going to be like about one spouse. Okay.
Okay.
So what is Nicholas's Starbucks order? Okay. 3 seconds.
Oh, I know it.
3, 2, 1.
Cold
Nitro
brew.
cold brew.
Oh, nitro cold brew.
I
Okay,
said
you said
cold
cold
brew.
brew. That's close enough.
Close
I'll
enough,
give you
yeah.
that. Wow. Okay. All right. What's Jeanette's Starbucks order?
Oh,
You got
3,
this.
2, 1. Go.
Matcha
Matcha
latte.
latte.
Matcha latte.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Just
You
just
look
take,
shocked.
Just take note of that, everyone. Just take note of that. All right. Okay. So, what phrase or word does Nicholas say all the time?
Oh my.
I don't even know what I say all the time. What do I say?
I know what you say.
All right. You ready, Nicholas?
No. Okay. I'll
ready?
think of something.
3, 2, 1.
I ate 3 plates.
Why does he say I ate 3 plates?
It's every Sunday after we have, the buffet after Sunday service. He comes home. And he's like, I'm so full. Oh, that's what he said.
Oh, I'm so
I'm
full.
so full.
Yes,
so
I
full.
ate too fast.
I ate too fast. I can't breathe.
It's just particularly on Sundays.
Or every meal.
Are you telling me you're a glutton on Sundays? It's not supposed to be all you can eat buffet,
Yeah, I know.
You know, we
Yeah, but
that's every
but
meal.
but that's true. His most common phrase is "I'm so full."
Yeah, I'm so full. Yeah, that's
wow,
right.
I'm so full. Wow. Okay. Well, what phrase or word does Jeanette say all the time? All right. Ready? You ready? 3, 2, 1. What did you say, Nicholas?
Hello.
Hello?
Although I was thinking but I was like, I don't know if that's, I guess that's a phrase.
Yeah.
What is hello?
That was the most generic.
I think he was thinking just how many times.
Well, you're
Yeah.
taking it like very literally.
literally.
Like word frequency.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's my
gosh.
spouse.
Dude, you're a machine. That's awesome. Okay. Who's the better cook?
I know this.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Jeanette.
Nicholas.
What?
Oh, I said Nicholas.
I said Jeanette.
Oh, I heard Jicholas. I'm so confused.
Oh, no, it's
I
solidified.
heard Jicholas, which is what I like to call this couple. We combine their names together. Wait, so you guys both said the other person?
Yeah.
Oh, why?
Because, I'm thinking about. So I think maybe quantity wise, I would have on average better food. But when it comes to the showstoppers, so whenever we go home.
Showstopper.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So when we go visit family, he brings out the steak. He brings out the potato, mac and cheese. I think flavor wise, not health wise, but flavor wise, he does bring out much more flavorful things to my parents and his parents.
Okay, so he knows how to take it up a notch.
Yeah.
And then for Jeanette, she makes a lot of Korean food, and I really love Korean food actually.
Oh.
So then that's my favorite. I actually don't
So you
know
just
how to
like
make
it.
Korean.
You
Yeah.
like it when Jeanette cooks the Korean food.
Yeah.
Nice.
Noted.
Nice. All right. Well, if Nicholas were an animal, what would he be?
I got one.
All right.
Yeah, I got one.
3, 2, 1.
Gorilla.
Whoa. Did you guys talk about this?
No.
But I mean,
The way that
look
you
at
walk,
him.
yeah, the way you walk
Oh no.
kind of seems like a gorilla. Okay, I can see that.
well,
Yeah.
it needs to be something big. So not like a chihuahua.
It can't be a Chihuahua.
No, and it has to be something that can climb trees.
Exactly.
So then I was like, oh, gorilla, but not a chimpanzee or an orangutan.
You guys basically just think the same. This of all the animals in the animal kingdom, you guys both chose gorilla. What in the world? Okay, all right. Let's see if this continues. All right, if Jeanette were an animal, this is the last one. What would Jeanette be if she were an animal?
I got one.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Tiger.
A ferret and a tiger. Wow. So Jeanette's self-image is a tiger, but Nicholas's image is a ferret. Explain yourself,
Oh
sir.
yeah. So whenever she tries to like talk to someone, she'll like put up her hands in a little. How do you describe this?
No, this is not. Do ferrets do this?
That's the prairie.
Prairie dog.
Yeah, prairie. It's the thing that Timon is.
Yeah, exactly. That thing.
Is that a prairie dog? What is Timon?
Timon, I think he is a prairie dog.
Yeah. She does the little prairie dog pose. Anyways, yeah. Okay. That's what you meant.
Yeah.
You should look up what a ferret looks like. I don't think you meant ferret.
I think I meant. Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's
Did
like.
you just look it up right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone who's listening to this is gonna be shocked at you. All right. All right. Okay. So you guys have been married now for almost 4 years. And, we've been asking different couples different questions. One thing I want to ask you guys about is this. I think in marriage, especially in the first few years, as you're learning to relate to each other, we get into disagreements. And not just in the first few years. I mean, disagreements and fights and things like that are just a part of relationships and getting close. Some of those are sometimes over like really silly and dumb things. And when you look back on it like years later, you're just like, ha, I can't believe we like fought about that or whatever, right? So are there stuff like that? Could you tell me a few stories?
Yeah. I like the ones that you thought about. Those are solid.
Okay. Yeah. One of them was we used to own this device called like Alexa.
Everyone knows what that is.
But then
The echo,
Jeanette really didn't like the fact that I was calling Alexa because she thought I was like calling another female name. And I was like, but it's just a device.
Okay, I need can I add context to that?
Okay, sure.
Okay. So this is like a week after we got married. And then I was I'm not a feminist, but I'm very, proud and like independent and competent. And then Nicholas was very nice and said, "Hey, I usually use an Alexa. Is it okay if we have one?" And I was like, "Sure, yeah, let's go use one. Why not?" But then it really started bothering me that he was commanding like a woman what to do. Alexa, turn off the lights.
I see.
Alexa, what time is it? And then after a while,
You're gonna set off some people's like Alexas if they're playing this out of the room.
And then I didn't realize that it bothered me, because I said sure. And then after a week, I said, I really don't like Alexa. And he's like, why? And it's because you're bossing a girl around. I don't like it. I lost my maiden name. I'm like, well, questioning some things. And then, he shrugged it off a little bit. And then a couple days later, I'm like, bro, I really don't like it. And then he was very nice and said, well, what if we just changed? Is it literally the voice? And I was like, yeah, it's the voice. And you tell it good night and then the lights turn off. That bothers me. And then Nicholas said, he was very nice and said, okay, so if it sounds like it's just the fact that it's a female. So if we change Alexa to Echo, so make it, more gender neutral name, and then change the voice to a male, we'll remove the good night. We'll just say lights off. Would that be okay? I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So he did that. No fighting after that. It was very peaceful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. I would have thought it was about it's a female and there's like jealousy or something like that involved.
I think there was a little when I said,
Oh, it's the
Alexa,
good night thing?
Yeah.
The
And then
good
she was
night
like,
It just felt a little weird, I
Yeah.
guess. I
was like, who are you saying goodnight to?
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Maybe it's because Nicholas didn't say goodnight to you.
oh, I don't know. I can't remember. My memory's bad.
That's my theory. I mean, I'm just totally slandering you, but you're right in front of me right now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like I could see that. I could totally also see Nicholas not saying goodnight
Yeah.
so funny.
in his
I could
first
probably
year of
see that,
marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh man. Okay. All right. Yeah. What are there other stories like that?
I like your second story too. That one's great.
Oh, sure. The other one was, Jeanette would kind of get upset. That wasn't like super romantic. And so there was like this one office hours that we had with DP and Kata. And like I had told her, I'm like, oh, I'm not that type of person. I'll try doing certain things. but that was not my personality at all. So we kept disagreeing on that aspect. And then I just remembered that one office hours, like DP was like sitting on the couch, and then I said, yeah, I don't think it ever existed in me. And there was a moment where I think DP started like falling over and laughing so hard I just didn't understand the context. But I was like, oh wow, like our disagreements are so just absurd in that respect. So yeah, that was like one way. I think Jeanette remembers that probably more vividly.
I don't remember what
did I
I
say?
don't remember
was?
what it was about.
Yeah.
Like why I found it funny.
Or I can give my side of the
Sure,
story.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So Nicholas is pretty good with receiving feedback on certain things. And so I was telling Nicholas, I would really like it if, try to be a bit more romantic. And then he would just stare. He just didn't understand what I was even saying. So I gave some examples of it, of what can be improved upon the next week or two. And then we had office hours, so like a time where just couples get to talk to Kat and DP about.
It just couples huddles, office hours. Yeah, we just meet with the couples once.
You just meet every once in a while. And then I was actually giving Nicholas a compliment during the office hours, and I said, actually, I told him to be more romantic, do A, B, C, D, E, and then he actually started doing them, and I said that was great. And then DP said, I think afterwards, said, hey, Nicholas, women like to be wooed. And then Nicholas nodded his head and said, I cannot do what does not exist.
Oh, yeah. That was it.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
And then after that, DP was starting to laugh. And I think low-key, he laughed for 3 minutes. And then low-key, some tears started coming.
Yeah, that's probably the third time I saw DP cry.
Nicholas has made me cry multiple times.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember that.
It was so shocking, that statement. Just, I cannot do what doesn't exist. I was like, oh!
Yeah. It was very witty. But it was funny because I knew he was kind of like not necessarily trying to be funny, and he was being genuine.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so funny. He wasn't giving me attitude. He's just woo.
Woo.
Woo. What do you mean woo? I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Oh, now it's permanent.
My neurons needed to be synapsed or whatever you call it, so I can recall that memory. Oh man, that's great. So yeah. Anyway, so there's I love these. I think these are good examples of just figuring out how to relate to each other, and every couple has a different flavor of these kinds. And yeah, thank you for offering up yours. So awesome.
You're welcome.
So, man, in our congregation, we have a lot of young people, right? We have our staff mentor group a lot of them are married, but our students, they're not, obviously, right? But a lot of them are thinking about marriage and, interested in it. So what do you wish someone had told you before you got married? Just, I don't know. Just as you think about married life for the past 3 years and something months, what's something you wish you had known, or something someone had explained to you about it?
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I guess for me, I didn't realize how difficult it is to talk to the other gender. I say that because I actually didn't interact with many women at all. And so this was my first time kind of like interacting with another, I guess I would call species, but I guess we're the same species. But
you had a brother.
I had a brother. My mom was kind of like operated kind of like us. So we were all like, I guess, I don't want to say this, but I guess bros to one another. But so whenever I had the conversations, I would feel the need to try to understand the problem and try to fix it. And so that whenever like Jeanette would bring to me her like job woes, like of that day, like the interaction she had and like different, I guess, relational conflicts that she was experiencing, I would be like, well, why don't you just go to your boss and ask him to lessen your load? And so it would just be like trying to fix it in that moment. But then she would respond with, but it was weird. Her response wasn't like accepting it. Like I thought she would want that advice, but then
But she would get like more upset.
Yeah, more upset.
Or cold towards you.
I'll just stare at him.
And I was trying to understand, wait, do you want my advice? Like, what am I supposed to do? And then I realized,
And you start feeling like she's not open to truth.
yeah,
Right? What in the world? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
who
giving you
is this
good
person?
advice right now. And you're like totally stonewalling me.
yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, I get you.
And so, so I was like, oh man, are they just more emotional? I guess so. It's just a simple problem. But then there was a skit I saw that's so like
Profound.
it accurately describes the situation.
Oh,
but there's this
shoot.
YouTube video where there's like a nail in the female's head. and
There's
then-
literally like the visually, like you see a nail coming out of the forehead. Is it the forehead?
yeah, the forehead.
The forehead of this woman, right?
Yeah. And then the husband's like trying to talk about the nail, but then the wife is like, "Oh, my head's throbbing, it's hurting," and then the guy's, "Oh, it's the nail," and then she's like, "You're not listening to me."
You're always trying to fix me. You're never listening to me. You don't care what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And he's okay.
Yeah.
And then she keeps complaining, and then he's, but I think if you remove the nail, it's like, see, look at this. You never cared about me.
Yeah.
And you felt really spoken to by that.
Yeah. And then I realized, oh yeah, like I just don't understand, but I'll just listen. Yeah. And that actually ends up working. You just listen, and then you become the person, who doesn't try to always fix it, because maybe that's not the right thing in the moment. And so I realized that, in relationships, at least with my spouse in this case, like it's very important to be there. I think that's like part of the lesson I learned, rather than, try to fix everything.
Yeah. Just a caveat on that skit. Like, that skit is funny because it portrays the relational dynamic, but it does do it in a way that makes the woman seem crazy. And so I just want to caveat that, that, it's a valid point. It's a valid point to, sometimes we just have to empathize, and we just have to live their experience with them instead of trying to fix them. I think that's actually valid. So I don't want that to be the official position that we're taking here, because Nicholas, that just helped you understand, other people experience this too.
Yeah.
Which is why it's funny to all guys when we watch it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. That's interesting. I also though feel like it wasn't just because you didn't talk to women. Didn't you just not talk much?
Yeah, I
general?
actually didn't talk much.
Like in your family, wasn't it like your parents, your brother and you talk? Or I don't know.
We would like wave at each other. I think
So the answer is no.
yeah, I actually, okay, so part of my background is I didn't rarely smiled at all. I actually prided myself in not smiling, and so that was because like I would come home, everyone's doing their own thing. I would just go straight into my room and just study or play video games or whatever it was I was doing as a student. And that was my main interactions. And my dad says, I don't know, 10 words at max, so like per day. And then my mom would come home pretty late, and so we wouldn't talk as much.
That's funny.
That's wild, because that's very different. When I got married and saw his family, they love talking, especially actually your dad.
Yeah, so I don't know what happened. I think,
but since then, your dad became Christian, no?
Yeah,
Oh,
my
that's
dad became
true.
Christian.
So I think that stuff started to change in your family.
And then my mom became Christian too during that time.
Yeah, because when I go over for family vacations, they're very thoughtful. Especially the dad can talk about the Bible with him for an hour, very comfortably.
Wow.
And then he comes back and we're like, oh, we gotta stop. I'm joking.
That's funny. Oh man. What about you, Jeanette? What would you wish someone had told you or you knew beforehand?
I think maybe a bit of the opposite of what he's saying, because I think for me, my naturals, if you know Enneagram, I'm a 1-wing 9. So I see something that's wrong, but I don't like confrontation, which sometimes it's hard for people to believe, because I think with my friends, because of my directness or lack of EQ, whichever way you want to look at it, I can come up very direct and abrupt and sharp. But when I talk that way to Nicholas, because he's very similar to me, it doesn't quite hit the same. So then in order to bring up a point, I have to hold my fort in a sense and try to really bring home the point, which I'm very uncomfortable doing. So I really appreciated some of the older sisters when I first got married. I was like, I don't know what to do. I try to bring this up, but he doesn't seem to get it. And they said, you have to hang in there. If it's important to you, keep vocalizing it until like he gets it. Not like in an annoying, nagging kind of way, but basically if I bring it up once and he doesn't see it as a concern, not just ignore it for 6 months and then just brew in bitterness, but to bring it up again and say, hey, I don't think can we recircle this again? I don't think you're understanding where I'm coming from. And so that was actually a really hard thing to do without crying and without looking frustrated. Because I realized when Nicholas sees that I'm angry, he gets angry too. And then his anger will conquer my anger. So yeah, I have to look very peaceful when I bring it up. So I think to, bring things up peacefully and then to stay grounded. Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the things that, one of the big things that they talk about with you during premarital counseling, when you're thinking about getting married and kind of, we recommend that all of our couples go through premarital counseling with a professional counselor, and they talk about communication, right? And one of the things is assertiveness, right? Which is so it's not assertiveness like being mean or direct. Assertiveness is being able to say what it is that you want and need.
Yeah.
And being able to communicate that clearly. And actually, a lot of people have a hard time with that. A lot of people have a hard time with saying, hey, and a formula that we give to people sometimes is, hey, when you did this, it made me feel blank, right? Oftentimes when we want to bring something up, what do we say? We say something like, hey, could you not do this? Right? And we go directly for the behavior change. But that's actually not the best way to communicate a need, right? Being assertive, because that's being controlling and that's being nagging, right? Being assertive is, hey, when you did that, it made me feel sad, or it made me feel afraid, right? Or it made me feel unloved. And it would mean a lot to me if we could figure out how to work around this or how to change this, right? So then that can be hard, right? And that comes, that comes as feedback. So then on the receiving end of that, I guess if Jeanette's the one communicating that, then Nicholas has to be able to learn to receive that well. And that's a continual growth process, right? That we just keep growing into. And so I'm sure you guys have seen yourselves be able to kind of talk about those things better from like year 1 to now almost year 4, right? So,
definitely.
Yeah. And that will continue on. I mean, Kata and I, like we're still working on that. We're still trying to grow in that, to this day, and I'm sure for the rest of our lives. So yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing that, guys. Now I wanted you guys to give yourself, what would what's a piece of advice that you would give yourself, let's say like around the time when you were, so I think for a lot of like juniors and seniors, or you just graduated, you're starting to think about dating and marriage more seriously. Oh man, what does marriage look like? What Christian marriage, dating, that whole thing just seems like a huge thing, a huge unknown maybe if you've never really talked about it or thought about it. And it can feel a little overwhelming. But my worry is that sometimes as people get into that, then it starts to take over. Obviously, it takes up a lot of time and emotional bandwidth. But then people can fail to use their singlehood well. And so what's a piece of advice that you would have given yourself with regards to using your singleness well? Okay. How many years after you guys graduated did you get married?
Oh, 2?
Yeah, 2.
Okay, so you experienced 2 years of singleness after graduation, right? Okay, so what would you have given yourself advice about during those 2 years?
Yeah, I would say during that time to invest, like while you're single, to try to really learn how to serve. I say that because like in marriage itself, I guess, there's no one else is going to take out the trash. No one else is going to clean the dishes. No one's going to clean the toilet. I mean, there's just 2 people. And so,
yeah, I mean, the spouse will, right? I mean, obviously my spouse
obviously
will.
the spouse, yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
and then you were no longer married.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's just the activation energy that's really hard to do if it's not a habit. And I realized like when I didn't do any chores when I was in high school, up until high school, and I was a pretty lazy person. And so after becoming Christian, I spent a lot of, I learned about how to serve, take out the trash, but it didn't come to the point when I like had wanted to date. I was like, oh shoot, if I want to take this very seriously, I should try to be a servant to other people, because that's how I would want to be to my wife as well. And so one thing that I did actually was like in Dana House, which was one of the ministry homes, I had made a commitment to make breakfast every morning for DT. And so I would try to get like all these ingredients, just wake up early and then cook. And sometimes like people came, sometimes people didn't, but it was just like an exercise for me to really grow and try to do something that like would help, I guess, maybe it doesn't receive the recognition, but at least grows in my muscles in order to be a good spouse to my future wife. Yeah.
Wow. So you did DT breakfast before DT breakfast was a thing.
Oh yeah. That was like was it pre-COVID or post? I forget. Post-COVID. Yeah, post-COVID.
Yeah. I say that because, a lot of our staff, we do DT every morning at, so I guess all of our staff do DT at 7 a.m. every morning in various configurations. And Monday through Thursday, we all meet together in one of the homes. On Fridays, people meet by peer class. But recently, like a few months ago, like we started doing DT breakfast. So one group of staff, like a group of 4 to 6 staff, will actually we started at 6:15, but now it's 6:25 a.m. Right?
Yeah.
And cook hot breakfast, prepare, chia seed pudding and yogurt, and today there's porridge and just different things like that. Okay. So that when people come, they'll feel happy, because there's hot breakfast, and you can have hot breakfast and read God's word and pray together. So yeah, I'm thankful for all the early mornings that you guys have done.
Yeah, the food's so good. You guys should come.
Oh yeah, you guys can feel free to join us for the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks and counting.
Signaling things to come here. Okay. All right. So where are we right now?
I think I can answer.
Oh, you have your advice, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the advice I would give is relax. You don't need to know the timing of everything, or you'll miss out. If you focus on that, you'll miss out on the relationships in front of you. And so, like for me, I remember when I was like, my mindset when I was an atheist is, okay, I'm going to get married between the ages of 25 to 35. Cannot get married earlier because the brain is not fully developed for females, and definitely not for the males. So we have to wait until like after that.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
That's why it was 25.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
wow.
I think 25 is when the brain's fully developed.
Yeah.
For a male.
That's true, for a male.
Yeah.
And then I felt 35 is a good, 10-year range is a good time frame and all that stuff. And so, added on with that, I had a lot of, okay, if I get married at that means I should start dating at this time, which means, and then how long do I want like the dating to be? And like, I'll try to track it in different ways. And then that would cause, there's a lot of things you can't control. And there's, if a lot of my time and energy focused on those things, then it's just the law. If you add certain things in, that automatically means there's less room for other items to care about. And so as I grew up in my Christian journey, it took a long time for me to stop getting anxious about it and stop trying to calculate it out and just trust like in God's timing. As long as I put him in the forefront, it will be okay. And it just so happened that 6 months after I graduated from college, Nicholas asked me out and I'm like, I'm not okay. And then I prayed about it. And then we ended up dating actually 6 months after that. So I think just, relax. Cause I got married at 23. So not within that time frame.
It's pretty young.
Yeah. It was like a week during the honeymoon is when I had my birthday and I turned 24.
Oh, okay.
So I got married on the younger than I was expecting, but I don't regret it at all. And then relax. Don't need to worry about the timeline of how things are going to pan out, because as long as you trust in God's timing, it'll be okay. And then during that time, if you're not dating, might as well enjoy the relationships that are right in front of you. Thinking specifically like roommates, people that you go to church with, or just friends that are like around you. And let's say, for example, COVID was you're around the same like 3-4 people every single day. And then during that time, I really poured into one specific. It was funny. Those 3 specific girls, Liz, Anna, and Jasmine. And then I had so much fun with them, ranging from, we did everything from like ministry Zoom online to prayer meeting to watching the Lord of the Rings, Pastor Ed's commentary for the class of 2020. And then just a bunch of comments that, just 4 girls that are just hanging around each other a little too much. There's a lot of inside stories and a lot of fond memories that were built during that COVID year in the Bay Area that I really cherish now. And then when I moved over to live with younger sisters, it was a very scary time because I that was the first time I really experienced being an older sister. And that was very nerve-wracking. But now looking back, I had a lot of fond memories with them. And now I think 2 of them actually went on foreign missions this past year. And so when I see them,
wow.
It's specifically Yelena and Tycee. They went to different locations. And I just look really fondly at that time when we were in the house, when we were learning each other's personalities, dynamics, and had a lot of road trips together. So I had a lot of fun, having a lot of fun with Nicholas now, but I thoroughly enjoyed it during my singlehood.
Nice. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Can I ask about the 6-month gap? if that's something that we can talk about. Like,
Yeah.
what was the reasoning behind that? I'm just curious. So I guess Nicholas asked you, and then you were like, "Give me 6 months," or how did that conversation go, or what was that about?
So I was personally going through some things at the moment where let's say if I had nothing against, I was very neutral with Nicholas. Nothing against, nothing
It's good.
for.
Neutral's good.
Yeah,
Neutral's very
better
good.
than it's better than negative.
Yes.
Good.
And then he was known as the Bible guy at the
Bible
time.
guy. Oh, because he had memorized like all of Romans or something, right?
Exactly. And then, I knew his spiritual disciplines were
yeah.
very strong.
That's a good thing to be known as, at a church.
Yeah.
The Bible guy.
Yeah. So
Starts again.
at that point, he was a guy that I respected a lot. But there was a lot of things just emotionally, mentally that I still needed to sift through and process before I started dating Nicholas, because I wanted to give him a fair shot. But I knew if I was dating him while I had these other thoughts, I would feel a bit uncomfortable and just kind of murky. So, but I wanted to leave him the opportunity of, if he's not interested in dating, like, things happen. 6 months later, not interested. Want to make that feel comfortable for him. So I called him back after he initially asked. And then he said, that's actually its own story about how he asked me out the first time. But so I called him back and I said, so I thought about dating and ask again in 6 months. And then it was really funny because we were in the same ministry, like home grouping. So we were around the same 6 people all the time.
Oh,
and so
you guys saw each other all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was all of a sudden stiff, just, hi. And I was like, hello.
Okay, I can see that being slightly awkward for Nicholas.
It was hard, but when COVID hit and we were locked down, I was like, oh, this
Thank
is
the
actually
Lord.
kind of better.
Oh, maybe the Lord had mercy on you by bringing COVID.
Yeah. So he was in a sense happy. And then he asked me out. He called and said, hey, I know it's only been 5.5 months, but do you want to?
Couldn't wait. But at that point, you were good.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. At that point, I said, okay, the answer is yes, but we just started having a shutdown where we can't see people.
It was right as COVID started?
It was like May-ish.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I was like, can we wait until we can legally see each other face to face first before we start dating? Because I don't want to do this virtually.
You sound like a Californian right now when you legally see each other, as if like it's anyways. Yes, you guys are from the Bay Area. So.
But he was very lucky because it was literally 2 weeks after that. Then legally we're allowed to be around each other outside of households publicly.
Yeah.
So
Thank the Lord.
yeah.
That's so funny. Well, what I took away from that, all right, for all you bros out there, is if you want to be respected by your future wife, then memorize the Bible.
That's true. Right? Respect can take you a long way.
So this is the context is like we had these videos. Like, was it a This I Know or something?
No,
like,
it was a all team retreat.
Yeah, but it was like
I don't
genre.
remember.
There was some genre video where people testified to various things, and then you talked about how you were doing daily Bible memory.
Yeah, I forgot the genre.
Yeah,
Training up, I forgot.
Oh, training up.
Oh, yeah, maybe it was core values. It was core values back then. We don't have core values anymore. I mean, we have the way of life now. Yeah. So anyways, I remember we all watched this video and Nicholas was just sharing about how just all of Romans, and what else did you memorize by then? It was like 1 Corinthians or something.
Yeah, I was starting another book at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you could just recite the entire thing. And you still do it?
I still do it.
Yeah, you do, because you do these daily walks in the morning, like an hour long. Hour long. So if you're like going along 55th at 6 something a.m. in the morning, you might see him just muttering to himself, and he's
quite a sight.
Yeah, he's meditating on the word day and night.
Yes.
So at least in the daytime. So nice. All right, thank you guys. Hey, so I want to talk about, so with each of the couples, I've been asking them to kind of share what they've learned from the past school year. What's God been showing you this past year? Anything kind of stand out to you? And so I know you guys thought of some different topics. And so maybe first, Jeanette, do you want to just start us off? Like what are some things that stand out to you from this past year in terms of learnings?
Yeah, I think one overall theme that I've been learning is to rejoice in all circumstances, whether you know what the future is going to hold. Even if it's a hard time, if it's a good time, it is a commandment, or not a commandment. Apostle Paul talks a lot about rejoicing in all circumstances, and for it to be a command to God, not just when things turn out well. And then I found that specifically helpful when I was having my heart condition. This was out of the school year, but like last year in March, when my heart wasn't beating properly, wasn't allowing blood to go to the brain, and I would just black out. And then I was hospitalized for 3-4 days while we were trying to figure out what the issues were. And then during that time to still rejoice and say, yes, even though this is happening, I still have a husband who comes, and one of Nicholas's, he's a very competent person, but during that time, the most helpful thing he could do for me is just to sit there and do nothing, kind of in a sense. It's not like he can, figure out what my issue is.
He's not a heart surgeon.
No, he's not a heart surgeon.
I can't fix that one.
No, I can't fix that one. And then so just to see him, it was really funny. He was so stiff during that whole week when we were there.
Must have been stressful.
Oh yeah, it was pretty
yeah,
stressful.
Yeah.
And then after my procedure, he came over. I'm still waking up and whatnot. And then not waking up, getting out of the medication they were giving me. And then he came over to my side and he said, "Hi." I'm like, "Oh, hello." And I was like, "Oh, are you feeling good?" "Yeah." "Is it because I'm done with the heart stuff?" "Yeah." And I was like, "That's great." So I didn't realize how tense he was. But then, so yeah, just rejoicing that I have a husband by my side. I have friends that are willing to visit me. I have nurses that were great, fun to talk to, and that I didn't have any dietary restrictions because I wasn't having a disease. So I got to eat whatever I wanted to. The amount of boba I consumed was so much fun during that time. So it turned a time that was scary, unknown, because we didn't know if it was a heart issue, if it was a brain issue, how long it was going to be, if it was lifelong, if it was just going to be for a week. But to promise to God that I'm going to rejoice in all circumstances, even though I don't know what the outcome is going to be. And then this past year when I was having my migraines where I couldn't see basically for a week and then was slowly gaining back my sight, to every day just remembering and praising God, even though these things are happening, I still have so many things to rejoice over. And even though I don't know what the future is going to hold, that's okay, because I have the best thing ever, which is a relationship with God, the church, and Jesus. So, yeah.
You had your fair share of health struggles in the past year and a half, right?
I know.
So I know some people will be curious because maybe they don't know about it, but what was the heart issue? And
so the disease was Wolff-Parkinson syndrome disease, I guess. And what happened was there's an electric current. So in order for your heart to beat, there's an electric current that goes through the 4 chambers of your heart.
And it has to go in a certain direction.
Direction and a certain pathway. But apparently since birth, my heartbeat was irregular, but overall that's fine. Because I kept going in the correct path. It was just a little delayed. But last year, it all of a sudden there was another pathway that opened, so only the top 2 chambers were able to beat, and then the bottom half couldn't. And then
someone explained it to me as that it's short circuiting.
It was basically short circuiting. So I didn't realize it in the moment, but I was having dinner with 10 girls and I was making eye contact with Elaine Chen, the poor soul, because I was talking with her and she was making eye contact with me, and then all of a sudden just boom went onto the floor.
Passed out.
And apparently my legs sticked up. I started twitching.
Oh my gosh.
And then, but then I gained consciousness within 30 seconds or so, but I couldn't remember anything. Because some girls, I just remember talking to Elaine, and all of a sudden these girls are asking if I'm okay. And I'm like, yeah. Did something happen?
But you were on the ground.
At that point, I was sitting back in my chair.
So you were sitting back in your chair.
When I started to
regain consciousness.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
So from my standpoint, I'm in the exact same position where I was when I was talking with Elaine, but it's now everyone is surrounding me. So they had to fill me in on what happened.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. But I still remembered my name. I started, okay, who am I? What is my purpose here? But I was able to remember all that. So when I went to the virtual doctor, told me to go to urgent care. Urgent care told me to go to the ER. ER said, you're staying here until we figure out what's wrong with you. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah. And didn't it turn out that Nicholas, your mom she does heart stuff?
Yeah, she did the exact surgery that Jeanette needed for the past 20 years.
Yeah. So that was wild. So then turns out Nicholas's mom is an expert in this particular procedure that you needed.
She called this her bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
So the connection.
So then that was, I mean, despite it being scary, just even the providence of something like that.
Yeah.
Right. And I heard Nicholas's mom was talking to your doctor or something.
Yeah. They were testing each other.
Making sure they know their stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
They were speaking at a level where it's still English, but I couldn't keep up with the conversation anymore.
Yeah. All the words you're using are English, but I do not understand. Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. Man, that's crazy. I'm thankful that all resolved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I know that recently you had the migraines and kind of stress related migraines and things like that. And so, yeah, but despite that, yeah, I think you guys have experienced learning to rejoice. So, Nicholas, how did you experience that whole ordeal, I guess?
Yeah. Initially, I was like, oh gosh, what is happening? Because, I mean, we're so young. We're like, I don't know, at that moment,
25, 26, something like that.
26, yeah. And that wasn't within my, I guess, plausibility structure of something like that happening. And so, yeah, initially I was feeling like really anxious, especially the fact that, yeah, we were fast tracked through the ER. Like I didn't expect to go ahead of like 100 other patients, and we had just arrived there too. So I was expecting to wait for a couple hours, but then it seemed very serious in that moment.
Did you go to Chicago or Rush?
We went to Rush.
Rush,
I
right?
recommend Rush, by the way.
Yeah, 5 out of 5.
Yeah. Nice, solid.
And so, yeah, in that moment, I was like, okay, this is not good. And then we go straight to the room, the hospital. They like gave us a room on the 12th floor. They said it was the nicest room, and I'm like, oh gosh, what is that?
Yeah, that's crazy because if you get rushed to ER, that means it's like a P0. That means they think that this is like life threatening.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So then that's scary. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh gosh, like what are we gonna do in this moment? And so we texted like I guess our other friends, like the bros and the gals as well. I guess Jeanette texted the sisters, and then it was like as if everyone like started coming over all of a sudden. It was a surreal experience because I was expecting to kind of like go through this situation. I don't know why. I thought I was gonna do this. Okay, we're just gonna get through the surgery like really quickly and get out of there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But then I didn't realize like how much I was in need because growing up, like I didn't really experience need in that level because I generally things went well in my life. I don't know, school was okay. Like financially we were fine. And,
upper middle class.
Yeah.
Bay Area.
Health was good.
Yeah, not much suffering. In your life. Yeah.
And so the moment like I experienced need, I didn't. Then like what came to life was actually the concept of like church being family. I think that was the thing I learned during that moment, because what would happen was like the first day someone brought like food for us, and then the next day they were like having a meal rotation where they would bring us like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're like gaining weight.
Stuck in this room but eating lots of calories. And Nicholas is like, I'm so full.
Yeah, I'm so full. That's my third plate. And then I just felt really loved. Like I don't think I would have experienced something like that had I not been in that need. And it really brought to light the verse in, I guess, 1 Corinthians 12, where it says, if one member suffer, all suffer together.
Yeah.
And that really came to life to me. And
did you just notice that Bible memory there? Solid. Anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah, and one of my friends, they knew I love spinach, so they actually brought me a box of spinach, even though I wasn't the one in need, actually. It was Jeanette who was
sitting there.
I was just a recipient, but yeah, I just felt really loved. And there was a moment where the sisters were like, oh, hey, Nicholas, you can, because I was sleeping over there each night, and they're like, oh, you can go back home to sleep, and then we'll watch with Jeanette, and then you could come back later. And I didn't realize like how stressed I was during that time, because like I came home and I slept the whole night.
You couldn't wake up.
My alarm was still going off like during that moment, and I totally slept through, and I didn't realize how much like sleep deprived I was. Yeah, because each night they would come in and poke needles at her to draw blood, and it would like interrupt our sleep pattern. So that was like, it was like super difficult to sleep. But then what would have been like a very stressful moment ended up helping me see, wow, like I am truly like seeing the church as my family right now, because I even like with my own family, I don't know that level of love could have happened. Just constantly visiting, constantly asking how we're doing. We had people from like other churches sending us like flowers and gifts and food, and I just it was amazing. In that moment.
So it was your first time sort of being on the receiving end of that, right? Because I'm sure you've seen other prayer requests go out.
Yeah.
Maybe you've even dropped off food for people, or done that, and it's sort of like, well, obviously I do that, but I hear this again and again, which is that when people are going through an actually difficult time, a serious health thing, family situation, and how to us it might feel like, oh, I'm just hey, praying for them again, sending them another email. Hey, I'm just sending some food. You know, it's just a little bit on my part, but how much that actually encourages the person on the other end when they're actually going through that difficulty. And so I try to remember those stories so that we don't lose that as a church. We don't lose that insistence that, you know what, we're going to treat each other like family. And if my sister or my brother was in that situation, of course I would do something to help. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was actually so that just reminded me that when we were at EDM, the EDM conference last week, there was a speaker who was just sharing a story just about someone, but they had it was about this guy who like, I think he like got like seriously drunk or something at some frat party. And then the bros just dropped him off at the hospital, but then like just left.
Oh.
But then it happened like multiple weeks, like multiple Fridays. I'm forgetting the context, but I just remember the line, the hospital staff kept telling this person, your friends do not care about you. Your friends do not care about you. You should, because they're trying to warn this guy.
Yeah.
You're going to end up in a bad place. You shouldn't, that group of friends, whatever they're making you do, you shouldn't. Right? Contrast that with, I think it's really awesome when, our church is able to show up and people from the church are able to show up and show care. And then it even impresses maybe sometimes the hospital staff.
Yeah, they're impressed.
And they're like, whoa, are you guys famous? Are you like a Taiwanese influencer or something? And then it's the testimony that the church, the body of Christ can kind of show the world, this is how we love one another. And therefore we are Christ followers. So yeah.
Amen.
Which is from where?
1 John.
Isn't it John 13?
John 13. Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Although 1 John 2. Yeah. 1 John also has the love, but yeah. Yes. Nice. So we don't have too much time left. Okay, so maybe last set of questions here. But so there's a lot of transitions coming up, right? So we did announce this, a few weekends ago, right? And we already sent off Steph and Vivian last week.
Sad.
And then me and Kat are moving to North Carolina to lead the church there. Matthew's going to foreign missions. Agape Marie, they're going to Elgin for the new youth initiative that we're starting up in Chicagoland. So, man, how are you guys? I don't know. How are you guys feeling? How are you guys processing all of this?
Yeah, I would say initially I was like, oh no, what's happening? All the older people are disappearing. They're all going. And we're the next rank. But yeah, and there was a part of me that was also really sad because I've been with DP since undergrad. He saw me become Christian. He saw me I guess he didn't see me get married, but he at least witnessed me going through marriage and things like that. And it's really hard to have, I guess, someone that close to leave. And then also all the different relationships that we built over the past 3 years that we've been here. And like Agape and Stefan, they were like the original team who arrived here. And so, I was like feeling kind of, I guess, worried, mainly because I guess I think that, I need them in order to kind of like do the ministry work that we did this past year. But what I realized though was like, God was still working through us through that time. And like this whole entire, I guess, reflection that I've had this past year was like, if we do things together and if everyone just lays down their schedule, their resources and all that, we can do a lot for God, despite we like having someone who's like super competent. That's not like what highlights the power of the church. It's all of us kind of just doing it together. And so, when I reflect on that, it helped me to kind of just feel a sense of peace with the idea that like, okay, this is the new reality. And I definitely have to step up in a way, which I guess is a good opportunity for me to grow. But I'm also excited to see how, God is going to use each of the, I guess, older mentors that we have in our ministry in the various areas that they're going to. And now we have a connection with, I guess, North Carolina, with Indonesia, Vietnam, and also, I guess, youth in Elgin. And so, I'm very thankful that we are a church that can have such like level of relationships where people, it hurts. It hurts, but it hurts because we were close. during that time. And so, yeah, very thankful to have this opportunity to just even reflect over the past 3 years that I was here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think similar to what Nicholas said is it, like, part of me, I just want to ignore the pain because it is sad just seeing all these people go. And then I had to think about it, like, why is it so sad? When I'm like, I moved around like to different cities before and it wasn't, I didn't care. I didn't care if people came and went. It was fine. But I think as I'm growing as a Christian and doing ministry or just even doing life with people, it just hurts a lot when people that I've grown close to, people that I've enjoyed doing life with, seeing people at 6:15 in the morning when you're still tired, tired and cooking breakfast, and that's going away a little bit. But to remember to rejoice in all circumstances, and to the reason why it hurts so much is because I have so many relationships with people that I can cherish for the rest of my life. And I think similar to, I'll get there.
No worries.
I think similar to what DP said during one of the tissue.
Get the tissues for her.
DP was trying to do hand signals and Nicholas was like, what is he saying? I think thank you. I think what DP said during one of the Sunday service was it summarized it pretty well. Like, for me personally, what I'm learning, one of the commandments is to rejoice in all circumstances and then to recount all the blessings that I'm given. And then I think DP was saying it's also another commandment to grow, build a community here, and then also follow the other commandment to share all the good things that we learned about Jesus, all the good things we learned about God and relationships to other people because they need them as well. And so when at one point I'm selfish and sad that people are leaving, but at the same time I'm so proud that they're willing to go and other people can experience this as well. And so I think those are high level, the two things where I'm really sad, but I'm so grateful and I don't want it any other way because other people need God and need these relationships. And who am I to say no to that?
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. I think something about this time around for me. Yeah. Cause I've been reading some of my writing from back in 2019 when we moved from Berkeley to here. And in my writing, I mean, I'm having a hard time with that move too. I can see the painfulness of it and the sadness that I felt. I think this time feels maybe less hard, but that I've had this deep kind of almost existential struggle again about God's call on my life, because I'm starting to realize that this is the pattern that God calls me to, and it's painful. Like it's what I ended up preaching about, like I think 2 Sundays ago, like the Acts 2, Acts 1, like it's the Luke 24 gather, stay in Jerusalem, build a church, Acts 2, Acts 4, this kind of genuine family-like community. But so beautiful that it seems like they were lagging in perhaps going at God's pace when it came to spreading beyond Jerusalem. And so then God providentially uses persecutions to scatter them. And then finally, it goes to Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. And so I think about that, I'm like, oh man, so is this what I'm called to for the rest of my life? And if what God calls me to is, let's just say, to land somewhere, invest, get really close to people for 4, 5, 6 years, and then I have to move and do it again. There's a part of me, as I was thinking about this the past few weeks, I'm like, how many times can I do this, God? It's gonna get hard. I feel like it'll get hard, Yeah. So I've been wrestling with that personally. I think it's clear to me that is the pattern, and emotionally it's hard to accept. I can teach about it in theory, but when you have to actually go through it, it's, oh man, it's hard.
Yeah.
So I've been going. So we've been joking on our team about how we've been going through the 5 stages of grief. I think I've been kind of grumpy this past week overall, and so then I must be on stage 3 because it's denial. Oh no, stage 2, denial, and then anger. Right? Anger is the second stage. So I think I'm on the second stage right now, and then the third stage is like bargaining or something like that.
So that's for
bargaining.
Next week.
Yeah. So next week I'm gonna start. Do I really have to go?
That's as we're packing.
Yeah. Do I really need to maybe I'll be back, and then we'll go through the depression.
Yeah.
Phase 4 is depression, and then 5 is acceptance. Yeah. So, and I have So that might. Anyways, we'll see. I'll report back next week to see how it's going.
That's great.
Yeah. Then some people have been asking me what's gonna be the future of dPod. dPod follows me because it's dPod. So my plan is to take dPod, and I'm going to take all my equipment with me to NC. And hopefully, if I have time there, we'll see. I mean, I'm sure we'll be busy over there, but we'll try to maybe interview the staff, and it would be a good way for me to get to know them.
Yeah.
And for people who want to keep up with what's going on in my life, I guess that's one way to stay connected. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I think that's all we have time for today. Yeah. Any last thoughts? How are you guys feeling? Any last thoughts?
Feel great.
No, you cried it out. You cried it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think, how do I feel? How do you feel?
You can go first.
Nicholas, I do not feel.
Yeah.
What was the phrase again? Don't make
what
me...
I cannot do what does not exist.
Yeah, I cannot do what does not exist. I cannot explain to you what does not exist.
I think just recounting or going through this dPod, like just thinking about the past 3, 4, 5-ish years, going from singlehood to marriage to just our different ups and downs, and then to what's going to happen the next couple of months. I guess my thought is life did not go the way that I was expecting it to go.
Yeah.
And then it's 10-fold, 50-fold, just 100 times more. And then just thinking about my younger self would wanted to have known. And I'm like, no, you should not know what the future holds. You won't be able to handle it. Trust me. Yeah. So I think just even through these fun stories, just seeing how God has worked in our lives, and just at Voyage, it's been a fun journey, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen even in the next 5 to 10 years too.
Yeah, for sure. Any last thoughts, Nicholas?
Yeah. Oh man, thank you so much for hosting this dPod.
Yeah.
I think as I listen to all the different stories of our church, I'm like, wow, we have so much history with one another. And I mean, I'm not fully caught up, to be honest, but there's just many of them that I'm like, I think I went to episode 40 something, but there's a lot of content there. It's pretty good. But yeah, I'm like so thankful to just be part of this mission. Like as I think about my life and what it could have been, had I not found God, it would just be so insular, super selfish, and really have no vision. I would probably be playing a lot of video games, but just seeing my life now. I mean, it's hard. There's a lot of stuff that we as ministers do, a lot of toil, but it's the most rewarding experience that I've got to experience, and very thankful. And I can't see it any other way. This is how God had designed it, and if I lean into this type of everything for sharing the gospel, then it makes the most sense, because that's the only thing that saves. And so seeing people go, that's why we need to go. And so very grateful to now have these connections as people go forward.
Yeah. I was thinking about what Jeanette was sharing about how she would want to know the future, but can't handle it. And I think it's like that. If someone had tried to explain to me as I was becoming a Christian what all I would go through, I don't know if I would have done it. I would have been like, no, we're not doing that, because I'm not ready for it,
Yeah.
And so, if anything, one thing I've learned is that we have to be faithful and give our just full allegiance to God in the moment, today, what He's asking me to do right now. and stop worrying about tomorrow. Let tomorrow worry about itself, right? And let today answer for itself. And you have to do all the things that God calls you to. So yeah. I'm thankful for you guys. You guys are a very hardworking couple, and you guys are on our ops team. I don't know. Our students don't even know that we have an ops team that manages our week-to-week operations. And by that, it's like, making sure our calendar's up to date, things are communicated out on time, set up and take down rotations, rotations for all of our events, babysitting, all that stuff, and Nicholas and Jeanette it's a 3-person ops team, and Nicholas and Jeanette, Jicholas is 2 of them. The other person being Elaine Chen. So yeah, I'm thankful for, that's just one of your roles among many that you've worn. But yeah, like you guys were sharing earlier, just you guys have moved around to a lot of different, oh no, I guess we didn't. We talked about this in the green room time, but how you guys were moved around to a lot of different roles on our team. And I've been, just genuinely grateful for how you guys have been very flexible and just fill in the needs wherever is needed. And you guys have been a reliable couple in that regard. So, and then the trust that you give us, which allow us to have hilarious office hours times. You're just telling us about the conversations you had, and we're just laughing at you and telling you guys basically that you're absurd. So, but that's, half the work is just to recognize that, it's not so serious, even though the conflict sometimes seems so serious. So all of those, I'm going to just remember all those times, with kind of sweetness, and, who knows, maybe in the future we'll serve again together in the same city. You guys can follow me.
Yeah.
Sounds again. Good.
Give us 2 years.
Yeah. Like after 2 years, you guys follow me to Chicago, right? So, who knows? Who knows what the future holds, man? So
nobody knows.
Yeah. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. All right. Okay. Well, that's it for today. Here we go.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us for another episode of dPod. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have more episodes in NC. I feel like I'm constantly apologizing for not having enough episodes. I'm going to stop. You know what? You get what you get. All right. You get what you get. All right.
Good.
All right. See you guys.
Good plan.
Bye-bye.